You might have to turn that fan on for me, please. Since you on this side. Thank you.
What you know?
That's good. Thank you. What's good, y'all? What's going on?
You already know, man. What's up?
What's up, Andre? You on my live. What's good? Assalamu alaikum.
Why they?
Oh, you about to say talking
No,
to you. What's good, y'all? What's going on? You already know who in the building. You already know who in the building. WCMD Radio, you already know. Your favorite Philly girl, Christina, is in the building.
Let's get it.
Special invited guest.
Right.
What? bmcfly. What's good? Brandon.
What's up, Chris? You already know what it is, man.
Yeah, I was kind of skeptical.
Wow.
Let me make sure Brandon's coming.
Man, cut it out, man.
Because you know he
he
be all over the place. You feel
Stop
me?
it.
You feel me?
Yo, Christina, shot.
me and B go way back.
That's
Way back. Way back.
That's a fact.
Lincoln days.
Right. LU. Shout out to LU.
Yep. And shout out to West Side. That's where B from.
That West Philly. That's Master Street.
Okay.
60.
Shout out to Master Street. You can't shout out 60 but not shout out 59th Street.
Shout out to 59th Street too.
Oh, alright.
We brothers and sisters.
Oh,
man.
okay.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to Master Street, 59th to 60th.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! So how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, man. It's like I like this. I love the ambiance of this, man. This is real dope.
Yeah, this is a good start to something real
This
major.
is very nice. I
Yeah.
remember when you hit me up on the DM, or I hit you with one or the other, but we was talking about it, man. And
yeah, we finally put it together.
right.
You know what's so crazy though? I've been watching you with on your journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all day today, I was like thinking about questions that I was going to ask, and I definitely was going to give you the floor and let you, do your thing or whatever.
Right.
But I wanted to know. Somebody says 60th and Master for life. I wanted to know, far as where your journey started. Of course, it started back, and I guess when you was doing your own thing,
right,
in various situations, and you've been very open and transparent and vulnerable with sharing your own story.
Right.
But have you taken a personal responsibility? Is this why you're doing these videos and you're going out to the community and you're doing this and you're doing it? Are you making it your personal responsibility to be a part of the solution?
Yeah, because I'm the same young kid, just like any other kid from the neighborhood.
Right.
So I know what they're going through.
Right.
On top of, I know what I put people through.
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I've been in your shoes before, and growing up, I've been that negative person before too.
Okay.
So I gotta be a part of the solution somehow, some way.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, Confessions of a Philly Girl. Y'all tuned in tonight. Confessions of a Philly Girl. Special invited guest, Brandon Chastang on Facebook, but bmcfly on Instagram. Make sure y'all go and look on his page. So the other day, I had posted your video, right? And as a mother with a son, that video brought tears to my eyes, okay?
Wow.
Because, and my son, he was like, Mom, turn it off. I don't want to hear that. He was like, it's kind of sad to hear. And I'm like, no, it's not sad to hear. It's real.
Right.
You feel me? Like, this is what people go through every day. This ain't nothing made up. You feel me?
Right.
And when I was watching it, I was thinking about how I've been affected by gun violence. I've talked about it a couple times on my show. But just recently, I buried a very, very good friend of mine. We had been friends for over 20 years.
Wow.
He actually was my first husband. He got murdered, matter of fact, a week before Bach did.
Dang.
And I remember going into Khadijah's funeral home, and I remember his mother walking in front of like everybody. You know what I mean? We had a private viewing, and I just remember her screams, right? And it was so. When I heard the lady on the video in your video screaming, I was like, yo, like. that stuff, it kind of hit a nerve for me because I'm like, dang, like it kind of took me back to that day when we went and viewed Munir.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, like this stuff is like real life. This is not made up. And I think that's why your video was so powerful. And I think it probably had almost 1,000 views on my page, like the first day that I put it up here, which says that it resonates with people. You know what I'm saying? Because that was really real. So how did you get to that point where you decided to do a video like that?
Well, I've been doing a lot of videos, and that first is just being sober, right?
Right.
And now my mind is free to create.
Okay.
Then it comes from street violence and what I've seen and what I've been through.
Right.
So I could have died too when I got hit up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I remember laying on the bed in the hospital, and everybody was crying over me.
Right.
And I remember seeing mothers crying over my friends.
Right.
From Master Street.
Right.
Like, I've been in one of the biggest wars in West Philly.
Right.
And survived it.
Right.
And so I know.
Okay.
You know, and that's the vision.
I think that it's funny you use the word vision, right? And I'm learning now that I'm back in school. I'm learning that a vision is really just something that is concrete, right? Is you actually can see exactly where you want to go with something, right? And so I feel like the vision, like right now, our city don't have a vision.
Right.
We're very confused.
Right.
We can't really understand where all of this violence is coming from, right? So from your perspective, where would you say the violence is coming from?
It comes from mental health issues.
Okay.
It comes from trauma.
Okay.
It comes from how we are raised. I tell people all the time, a lot of us as men weren't raised to be independent like women were. Women were raised to be independent. Girl, you listen, first I need you to help me cook. I need you to help me clean, wash your siblings, feed them. I'm dependent on you. So for a female, I'm not saying that y'all didn't have hardships, because y'all did, but y'all were raised to be independent.
Right.
Whereas men, we were raised to be spoiled warriors. Spoiled warriors, meaning this, like our mothers and our grandmothers tend to let us get away with a lot, right? But you better not cry if you fall on your knee and you get a scrape. You sound like a girl.
Right.
You better not lose a fight. You better not come home and lose a fight. Anybody hit you, you better hit them back.
Right.
You ain't no little girl.
Right.
But I can let you get away with everything. So at the end of the day, a lot of males, we were raised off of survival. Even women, raised off of survival and not love.
I think that when it comes to women and survival, I think it's something that we were forced into.
I agree.
And the reason being is that even let's just say, not even with our mothers, you know, or if we had our fathers in our lives, I think it's more so like, even nowadays, I talk about this a lot, which is the conversation that I had with Wallow, is like, some of us really don't want that role. Like, we don't want the position of having to do everything and be all strong and have to always be the one that's always making sure everything is good. You know what I mean? Like, we want to be in a position where we're vulnerable and we're able to kind of let our guards down and allow men to lead. But unfortunately, the leadership is lacking somewhere. You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, so what's the solution with the disconnect between not just mothers and their children, but women and men overall?
Well, I feel like, first of all, both men and women are scorned.
Okay.
We're both scorned. So it's a dead cycle. Like, how can I expect you to understand where I'm coming from if you haven't healed yet?
Okay.
How can you expect me to understand where you coming from if you haven't healed yet?
That's true.
So at the end of the day, we both got good points.
Right.
But we both pointing the finger.
Right, but this is the thing though, right? Sometimes, right, when a woman comes to a man and says, all right, let's figure out how we can resolve this, right? Or how can we get to a common ground where we're both at peace or we're both happy, right? And one of the suggestions is therapy. Right. I talk about therapy a lot because I think that it's important. Men don't want to go to therapy.
I mean, we weren't taught to go to therapy. We were taught to just deal with the problem. I keep telling people, black men are raised to be warriors. We are raised to endure pain. This is why we don't care about jail. This is why we don't care if somebody died. This is why we don't have any emotions or have any feelings, because we weren't taught to be communicators. We don't know. The only thing that we know how to do is be aggressive. That's it. No matter how you want to look at it or how people want to put it out there, the only time that we know how to physically communicate better than verbally communicate. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying this is years of trauma.
Right, but okay, so let's start somewhere where there's years of healing, right?
Right.
Let's get to that point.
I agree.
And guess what? And I know for a fact, because I talk to plenty of women, and I'm going to speak for myself, that when, for instance, and I talk about my last marriage a lot, because I think that he was like the first man that I actually took the time out to really dig deep into his past, right? And it was based on the relationship that I chose to have with his mom. Right. And I realized that a lot of his trauma started very young, like when he was growing up. Whatever,
absolutely.
Right? And so now he's incarcerated now, unfortunately, or whatever. He's been incarcerated twice since him and I decided not to be together anymore, right? And right before his incarceration, I didn't even know he had an addiction. That's how blind I was, right? So what was going on? And I didn't know he had an addiction, and then his addiction wound up leading him into prison. But before we even got to that point, I kept trying to figure out, like, how can I be of some support to him? And I can't fix your problems. I can't erase your past, but we can start somewhere. But I had gotten to a point where I couldn't even, like, really keep allowing him to put his pain on me. Right. So I'm like, okay, let's figure out how we can get you some. I don't need no help. And then it led him back to the pills. Well, see,
that's okay. So that's what we call, that was his help. Okay. That's what he thought was his help. And I tell people, right, when you in the black community, right, instead of getting help for trauma, going to go seek help and really talk to some people, people that don't know you, people that possibly been through the same thing you've been through and that could possibly help you. We choose 4 other things besides going to go seek help. Okay. The 4 things that we normally go seek is, the first thing is food. We all, me too. This is why when you said, yo, Brandon, you gained weight, I did. You want to know why? Because being a year and 5 months clean from everything, I don't do nothing. Right. I substituted that for food. So my depression, when I'm depressed, I eat. When I'm stressed, I eat. Right. So that's what most of us do. This is why they got nothing but McDonald's, Checkers, and Burger Kings, and everywhere else. I'm now starting to eat healthy now. Right. Number 3. So food is the first one. It fills up a void. Number 2, sex. We look for sex. Some people are like, oh no, I don't use sex as for mental health, but we do, because it's a release mechanism. Right. And the only time that I can express myself and do it well is with sex. Wow. Right? Number 3 is aggression. I don't know how to communicate. I told you that before. Right. None of us know how to communicate. We don't know how to be receptive to love. We don't know how to be receptive to constructive criticism. We don't know how to be receptive to anything. If you disagree with me, either we argue or I want to get aggressive. Right. And number 4, it's a lot of addictions out there, but the number 1 addiction is drugs for us in the community. Black people are not known for putting a gun to our head. It happens, but that's not the norm. Rarely, right. The norm isn't jump off a roof. The norm isn't find a rope and hang yourself. The norm is a passive, aggressive way to kill ourselves is to take drugs. So yeah, for me too, just like him, drugs was the outlet, sex was the outlet, aggression was the outlet, and food was the outlet to suppress my mental health. Okay.
You know, it's so funny because when he first had went away or whatever, and we were talking, I was just like, bro, I didn't even know you had an addiction.
That's a fact.
Like, he hit it.
Yeah.
So well. It wasn't until like money started missing. You know, females, we'd be like, where the money at?
I've been there. I've been there.
Like, where the money at?
Yep. I don't know.
Exactly.
Listen. I've been there.
Listen, I'm like, how is it that somebody said the goat bmcfly?
That's a fact.
I'm like, yo, where's the money at? He like, what you talking about? You know, that started causing problems in our marriage. That was a deal breaker for me. Right. You already know. Like, I ain't with all that broke stuff. Like, you feel me? Facts. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got bills to pay. I got kids. Things got to keep going. So for me, that was a deal breaker. I didn't care if he had an addiction, if he didn't have an addiction. Once the money started missing, once the money started slowing up, I gave up on him. You feel me? Right. And sometimes I feel bad, but I remember someone I really, really love and care about. I don't even consider her a friend. She's family. Mm-hmm. She called me one day and was like, Christina, I don't think that it's a good idea that you cut him off like you did. She was like, he needs you right now. Because people was calling me, telling me all kinds of crazy stories about, like, he was out here reckless on you. Feel me? And I made it a responsibility of mine to try to give him an intervention, right? Because she was like, listen, you've dealt with enough death. She was like, you do not want to get a call and hear that this man has gotten killed or whatever the case, OD'd or whatever, right? So I was like, all right, you know what, you're right. So I took it, a personal responsibility of mine to find him, first of all. He was in the streets. I found him. I'm like, listen, you know, you want to get some help? You know, and I tried to get him some help, and he didn't want it.
Well, I remember my last two kids' mother. Mm-hmm. God bless them. Wow. Damn. Like God bless this woman, man, because she kept rumbling.
Right.
Like her rumble game is crazy when it came down to me getting help. Mm-hmm. And you got to remember, right? Mm-hmm. It's hard to say, as a black man, we are afraid to say, damn, I need help.
Right.
That's with anything, though.
Why, though? Why?
Because
what's the reason?
I just told you when...
Oh, come on, bro.
Huh?
Come on, I feel like at the end of the day, I'm your life partner.
Well, you can't. We're talking about. That's like telling me to get out of a slave mentality we've been slaves for over 300 years. Things like this is not going to just change overnight. So being receptive to help, once again, your mother, my grandmother, whoever raised you, always, you better not tell nobody your problems. You want to know why?
Right.
They're going to use that against you.
Absolutely.
So men tend to run with that more than women. And when I mean, and no matter how you look at it, whether it's we need help with money, we need help with mental health, whatever we need help with, men have this ego, especially black men. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm not asking nobody for nothing.
Well, you know what? This is what I'm going to say. I feel like when you're raising, you have sons, right?
I do, I have two.
Okay, how old is your oldest son?
Son is 18. He lives with me, actually.
18, right? We have children. Mm-hmm. And I feel like even if we don't want to get the type of help that we need for ourselves, right? I feel like I've made a conscious decision to make sure that I'm always try to be at my best for my kids because I'm raising a daughter. She's 12 now. She's turned 12 today. Yeah, and then I have my son. You know, yes, he does have his father. You know his dad.
Yeah,
he has his father in his life. Always has.
Shout out to his pop.
You know,
Jay.
and shout out to him. But more importantly is that I feel like, and he said this to me a couple weeks ago. He was like, "Listen, I'm put together, right? When it comes to taking care of my kids, mm-hmm. He like, but when it's just me by myself, I'm not always how I need to be just to take care of me. But I keep myself together just to take care of my children. And I tell him all the time, like, you know, from everything that he has gone through in his personal life, I tell him, like, man, maybe you should get some help. I'm telling you, like, therapy, it really takes a load off. And I know it's a cliche and people always say, I ain't going to talk to nobody, but you really in a room with someone who can never pass any judgment. Like, never pass any judgment. You already know, you talk to your family, they got an opinion. You talk to your friends, they can't even relate to the things. Because I know for me, that's why I haven't never really held on to friends, especially even from college, because they can't relate to my life. Like, y'all have no idea what I've been through. And even the times that they've been there and saw what I've been going through, you still can't relate. You know what I mean? So therapy is an opportunity for you to really go in there and say what you need to say and really, really let your guard down and be vulnerable and transparent with someone who could really, really help you.
So let me ask you a question. if I'm the only one in Philadelphia talking about mental health, that's the problem. If any man, influencer, rapper, actor, anybody say something about mental health, then maybe more men would do it. So when you look at the men that's been through things, but they got money, and they not talking about that, then that shit is not. Can I cuss on that? Oh, then that shit is not important. Nobody. This is why I say I'm the top motivator in the world, because I talk about the corny shit that we need help with. So you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you. It's easy to motivate college kids. It's easy to motivate rich people, wealthy people, college people that's trying to graduate or graduated. But when we talking about where we're from, talking about mental health, that shit is corny, Christina. It's corny.
And you know what? And I'm going to agree with you. Because a lot of times when you even talk about the mental health conversation, people look at you like you got 3 heads on your shoulders, right?
It's corny.
But this my whole thing. It's like, well, this is always going to be a revolving cycle. The gun violence is never going to stop until we're extinct.
Well, this is why, and not to cut your wisdom, but this is why I always tell people, right? First of all, there's no manual on how to raise a child.
Absolutely.
We raise children
we
listen, we raise children off of tradition, religion, morals, honors, experience.
Yeah, grandparents,
whomever, right?
Absolutely.
So when we raising our kids, the first thing that we do need to we need to show them that love conquers all.
True.
Instead of survival tactics.
True.
You know what I mean? Because
True.
once again, we were all damn near raised off of survival tactics.
Absolutely.
It wasn't no, I love you, come here, everything's gonna be okay.
Well, you know what's
I didn't get that.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I got that. I did.
Well, see, my mother, when she got herself together, I started hustling for her. My grandmother, we used to sit at the dinner table, right? And her thing used to be, you better not never become a faggot or I'm gonna kill you. No disrespect to people that's gay. That's what my grandmother used to tell me. Oh, you only the strong survive. And she's at work.
That's me now. That's the mother I am now. But I wasn't raised like that. My mother was the huggy, kissy type. Because a lot of times people be like, oh, you act like you never got hugs as a kid. I really got hugs.
You gotta
as a
show
kid.
affection. You have to show affection.
I think
you have to see affection
I'm
too.
gonna say this. I hug my kids. Sometimes I don't want them to touch me. I don't. But that's just from I got a cold heart. You feel me? And that's only because of what I've been through.
And you know what that's called? And like I said, that's called trauma.
Oh, absolutely.
And not only that, no. I know you're not. And I'm talking about for the viewers and for people that's like going through what you're going through.
Right.
Don't get off me. Don't touch me.
Right.
My mother she's not now. Mom, I just got locked up. Figure it out.
Right.
My mother never bailed me out.
Wow.
Never bailed me out.
See, I'm the opposite. Anything my kids get into, I'm constantly bailing them out.
See, so what you telling me, right? So what you telling me is like you're not affectionate, but you show affection. Mm-hmm. You show affection in the other way.
I love differently. Yeah.
Okay. See, my mother was on the tip. Like my mother was the opposite. That's my boy. But your mom, I just got in a jam. I don't know what to tell you. Figure it out.
Right. That's not
like she was like on some tough. Like you from the streets, ain't you?
Right. No. And see, that's the thing too, though. But my son, he'll. I don't think that he'll ever really understand this what it's like to be in the inner city community. Like for instance, when Bakir got killed, that tore him.
That tore me up.
Because I think that he was really starting to see what I was talking about, right? Mm-hmm. About the streets and things. Even when Munir got killed, he didn't go to the janazah, but when we went and saw Bakir, Bakir had the viewing, whatever, that really hurt him, and even going to the burial, I saw another side of my son. And what I explained to him was, this is real life. This is what goes on in our communities every day. This is what your father and I have been sheltering you from these type of things. I think that it hit hard because it was Bach. Like, you know what I mean?
So that was somebody that was close.
Yeah, that was somebody that was close, and it happened. Like even when like Dollar got killed or whatever, he wasn't old enough to really understand what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like now he 14,
Right.
listens to music. You know what I'm saying? He dug in. He know what's going on.
Right. He
you
know
feel
what's
me?
going on.
And so when Bakir left, it's like, wow, man. And even when we was in the car after we left the cemetery and we were at the store and we was sitting there, he was like, Mom, like, this is serious. And I'm like, yeah, this is real.
And this
ain't no game.
And this is why not only do I, when I create visuals, right, I just don't create the death visual, right? Like, you know, I took one kid to the cemetery. That was a crazy visual. You know, I do visuals that's like, yo, shit, I went through that.
Right.
Like, yo, I did a deadbeat joint. I got kicked. You know how many cribs I've been kicked out of?
Right.
Like, after a while, sex and looks don't matter no more.
No, they don't. Not now.
Especially as you get older, you're like, wait, hold up, bro. You what? Nah, it's not happening.
Right.
Back in your early 20s. So I talk about being a deadbeat father.
Wow.
I did a visual on that. You know what I mean? Like, I try to paint these pictures so people can see, and I'm very transparent in what I'm talking about. Because I realize that it's no secrets, right? It's no secrets in the black community. The one thing about black people,
no, everybody
we
knows
can
the
spread
business.
that. But you know what? You know what people do? They look at you like nothing happened. So I say, you know what? Before I start taking off, I said, damn, man, you know, I may not give you 100% of everything,
right,
but I'm giving you about 75% of everything.
Right.
And like, listen, that's enough.
Right.
Now, if you find some extras, like, all right, go ahead, enjoy.
Listen, y'all are tuned in. Confessions of a Philly Girl, special guest, Brandon Chastang, aka bmcfly. I'm gonna take some comments, see what's going on over here.
Yeah, man, because I'm ready for the comments right now, man. Bring them comments over. Let's get it. I want to hear all the comments. I want to hear all the questions. Bring them to me, man. Let's go.
Somebody said, Stephen said, that's my brother, love him to death. We go way back to pre-K, he in the days.
That's a fact, man. Shout out to Hannah, man. You know what I mean? Listen, Ganyan Bluford went there, man.
Oh, shout out to my mom. She said, not all men are raised to be aggressive.
No. Right, and I agree. Not all men are raised to be aggressive, but we live in a black community. Most men are aggressive.
Well, I'm going to say this about my mom because she comes from the era, a lot of people know this, I probably mentioned that my mother's older. She's not a young mom, you feel me?
Right.
So I'm 30, I'm 35, right? My mother is 71.
Okay.
Yeah, she old school, you feel me? So she grew up in the 50s and the 60s.
Right.
Where the era was completely different.
Yeah, like
it
my
was
grandmother's
totally different. Yeah, exactly. A totally different generation. Her mother 90. You feel me? So the generation that they come from, men really weren't taught that type of stuff.
No, but we talking about we're talking about today. If you from the inner city,
I'm gonna say those names begin with G.
90% of the black men, or 80, 75, are aggressive.
Had to figure it out.
Had to figure it out.
I'm gonna say this. Somebody said, "Don't feel bad. Money can't stop for your kids." Absolutely not.
What happened?
I guess when she was talking about when I said I felt bad when I had to let him go when his addiction started and money started missing and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen. One thing. Let me tell you something about addiction real quick. I did everything under the sun but do something with another man. I damn near did everything with my addiction. And I tell people, right, one thing about addiction, it takes over you. Man, I miss showers. I missed a lot of stuff because of my addiction. And this is why when people be filming people, listen, when I went to rehab, right, I said, damn. First of all, I got hooked on, my addiction started a while ago, but it really started when I got shot.
Right.
And when I felt them Percocets for the first time, I said, this shit is God.
Wow.
Because I said, not only can I walk straight now I'm on a tip, like it's taking me away from my mental pain too.
Right.
So addiction caused me to do a lot.
Wow.
Like I said, the only thing that I didn't do, and I thank God I never took it to that route, was something with another man. And I'm talking about anything you could think of with another man. Right. I never did it.
Right.
But when I went in those rooms and I was in rehab, it was men doing things with other men for this drug.
Wow.
No matter opioids, dope, crack. And when people say, well, listen, if everybody would have left me, like I don't know. It's a double-edged sword. Because when you say, yo, I'm not sticking around for this shit, it's like I don't blame you.
Right.
Then on the flip side, it's like, well, did you try hard before you said I'm not sticking around?
And that's where I think I guess a little bit of my guilt come from, because now when I seen him for the first time after he told me it was real bad, I was so hurt. I said, this can't be the man that I chose to spend the rest of my life with. I was flabbergasted when I saw Bull. He looked bad. He was missing half a tooth. Like, he was looking bad. You feel me?
And I know some of the things that I've been through with this addiction caused me to be where I'm at today. Meaning, like, not sleeping. I remember when I had to be in rehab for 30 days. Mm-hmm. And being in rehab for 30 days, 5 days I had to go through detox.
That's the worst.
And that's the worst. And when I tell you, let me tell the viewers real quick about detox real quick. And I'm very transparent. Constipation. Like, to the point where it's like you're afraid to go to the doctor, so you got to pull it out yourself. Not sleeping, cold sweats, shaking, restless leg syndrome. You feel like if you ever, like a flu, 10 times worse. So when people, it's hard, I don't take Suboxones, I don't take nothing. Because Suboxones is worse than Percocet's withdrawal. And alcohol is worse than both of those withdrawals. And I never knew that.
Yo, alcohol?
Never knew that.
That was actually my situation. I was like, it was bad. Like, real, like, addicted to alcohol. And actually, when I got into my car accident, and my boyfriend had passed away, we were both intoxicated. Like, I was completely wasted. Like, I was so wasted, they said that's basically what really saved my life, because my body was so relaxed in the accident or whatever. But I say that to say that after that happened, it was years before I even touched another glass, right? And so it wasn't until Dollar got killed that I was just like, I'm leaving this stuff alone. You know what I mean? Because it scared me. Right. It was scared me before, and I think that peer pressure kind of brought me back into it.
Of course.
But I found myself going back to drinking and driving again, like just being real messy. Mm-hmm. My girlfriend was on the phone with me crying one day, and she was like, Chrissy, like, you want to hurt yourself. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, but I was like pouring my depression out into it. Like, I was completely depressed. Like, people don't realize that this is just like an outer shell.
Of course.
This ain't nothing but some skin.
Right.
The person that you are on the inside could be really effed up. You feel me? Like, when I tell you, I don't think people really understand when you bury two significant others, your father and your stepmother, all in the same 2 years.
Yeah, that's
feel me?
different. And
then to be the only child and not have like no real close brothers and sisters, like, it's just me. It was just always me and my mom. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With my dad, he did have 2 other kids, but we didn't know each other. Me and my sister are really just starting to get into know each other and having a relationship right now. Mm-hmm. So back then, it's like to feel very alone in the world and not have nobody to understand what you're going through. You feel me? Because there have been times where, I only got out the bed because I knew I had to do something for my kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there were some days I just wanted to lay there. But I remember growing up and really being ignorant to mental illness. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because someone very close to me was suffering from it. And when you're a kid, you don't really understand it. All you know is that there's an absentee parent.
And it's never been spoke in the house. Though.
No, not really.
You don't hear that in the household. Mental health.
Yeah.
At the dinner table.
Nobody talking about it.
And you see people going through the same shit over and over again, and it's like you go in your house. Yeah, she got mental health issues, or she got mental issues.
But back in the day, they used to pray it out of you. Back in the day,
but you know what?
Yeah, and that's how it was. Right. And I ain't saying that prayer don't work, because it do. You know what I mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gotten me through through everything I could think of. The other part to it is that you also have to treat an illness. You don't get out of a cold by just like not treating it with some type of medicine.
Right,
You
with
feel
some
me?
remedy.
Mental illness needs to be treated the same way. Like trauma is real. Like you can't keep going through stuff traumatic and bouncing back and thinking that you're just gonna always be normal. Like no.
Well, it's funny that you said that because some people feel like trauma is normal. So for instance, it's like I can look at you and I got one. You see a boyfriend and a girlfriend fighting. I'm talking about fighting, arguing, and then the next day, the kids see y'all in love again.
Right.
That's trauma. And that's normal. Like, oh yeah, Lee.
Right.
You.
Right.
And then they carry the same thing over.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I left my last relationship, because I want my children to understand that that's not normal. And I remember when my husband and I used to go through stuff, and my daughter used to always be the one that was home because my son would be back and forth with me and Jay or whatever.
Right.
And she will always be the one home stuck in the middle of the situation.
Yeah.
And the next morning I'd be like, this ain't normal. Like, and I used to tell her, like, listen to me. Listen to me. This isn't normal. This isn't okay. You feel me? And then one day she was like, Ma, I don't want us to be here like this no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, well, it's not that easy to walk away from a situation. And it took me a year to get out of my situation, because a lot of the times I stayed out of guilt because I knew he needed me. I knew that I brought structure and stability to his life. Not saying that he was a bum nigga. No, he went out here and he made his money. He had an honest job, an honest business, and all of that. But the part of the bigger part of it is that he's never really had anyone who was stable, who really gave him that foundation.
Right.
You feel me? Like everybody needs the foundation, man, female, whoever. We all need it. Sometimes we can't do it for ourselves, and then we kind of mess up the foundation that's being given to us by someone who really genuinely cares about us.
Men, I just want to say this right. First of all, shout out to WCMD.
Hey.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hey.
I've never seen a podcast like this, where we talking about the root of the problem. And the root of the problem, men, we are going through trauma, man. And who's going to protect our black queens, man? Like, at the end of the day, I realize when you come across an alpha woman, the women have become not only the leaders and the head of the household, right? But they have become alpha women. So if you come across a female and she feel like she got this block and this roadblock up and she being hard and all this, that's because she's used to everybody dying or running out. After a while, they're going to break loose. And women, if you come across a good man that's been patient, yo, start easing up now. Like, you know he ain't going nowhere. So you ain't got to kick this hard, be hard on for 10 more years and be hard for another 10 more years. If a black man has fixed his trauma, he know who he is as a person. He know what he want to deal with and who he want to be with. And he's being with you and he's stuck around for 10 years. Yo, let loose. Because he ain't going nowhere.
Shout out to bmcfly, Brandon in the building, spitting some heavy game. Confessions of a Philly Girl, you already know. Christina Lynn. Philly, your favorite Philly girl. Let's get at these comments.
Let's go, man. I need the comments.
So we got Kendra. Kendra, are you from Camden? She's on WCMD Live. In our community, the response is always that therapy or counseling is white folk stuff. It's very sad. We all need outlets, because no matter how hard or strong we are harboring all of our feelings, disappointment, etc., is so unhealthy. We think because we still get up and function, we're okay, because our people are taught that asking for help of any kind is weak. And I agree, Kendra. I think that and that's another thing.
Shout out to Sammy, man.
I'm functioning. That's what I'm doing. I'm functioning because I ain't got no choice.
Right.
If I just chose to say, you know what, F it, I'm done. I don't want to do this no more, and just walk away from my entire life, my kids are going to suffer.
Yo, listen, it ain't no quitting. Are you crazy?
Listen.
It ain't no, listen.
It get real.
Yo,
listen
to me. Let me explain something to you. I told my man, right now I'm eating healthy. But I said if I gotta eat 20 burgers in order not to take a pill, then that's what I'm going to do. But then I had to think, well, if I eat 20 more burgers, then I might die. So now, in order for me to be the top motivator in the world, I got to speak on education. I got to speak on mental illness. I got to speak on the gun violence. And I got to speak on being healthy, because I've been through it all. I know what it feels like to be a deadbeat father. I know what it feels like to be a womanizer. I know what it feels like to have no education. Now I got to bring it back to the community. It ain't no giving up. I don't care what's going on. And I don't care what anybody say about anybody. You could talk about what I used to do back in the day. Let's talk about it now. No? I'm a year and 5 months clean. Let's talk about that.
Let's get it. Let's get some more comments. We got a lot of people in here. Hold on. Wait.
Let's talk about that.
Let me see.
You understand what I'm saying?
Listen, someone said, I disagree. If a man can ask for money, he can ask for help.
See. This is what I'm saying. Why would I ask for help if that's not going to give me instant gratification? Money will give me instant gratification to give me what I want instantly. Right. So when I was getting high, help, fuck is help going to do right now? I want to get high because I don't want to face reality.
Right.
In order for me to get help, I got to face reality, right?
But the sad part about it is that though, right? It's only in a relationship when you dealing with someone that's in an addiction. I used to tell this to my husband, I was like, yo, man, you weak. Especially since how hard it was for me to walk away from alcohol and just go cold turkey with it or whatever. I went cold turkey. I ain't go to no rehab. I ain't do none of that. Like, I just, one day I was like, man, I ain't doing this no more. And I just stopped drinking or whatever, right? And he used to be like, man, because he already knew if I was on, then it was on. Feel me? So once I stopped getting on, he felt like I kind of like separated myself from him. And it's like, it's not that. It's just that I can see things clearer in him, right? I can see things for what they are. And so both of us can't be out of touch of reality. Like, one of us has to be within reality. It would be great if we both could be on the same page. It would be great if we both could be on the same page. And then, like I said in the beginning, I didn't know he had an addiction. And then it wasn't until really one time he was going through withdrawal. And he was mean. He was evil. I'm talking about nasty mean. And I was like, yo, what's wrong with you? And then he started taking other pills to get off of those pills.
Well, right. So I used to take when the Percocets felt like, after a while the Percocets wasn't working. Mm-hmm. And when the Percocets weren't working, either I was taking fake Percocets or the Percocets, I just got immune to them.
Okay.
Or I didn't have enough money to get my dosage.
Right.
So I would add Xannies to it. Mm. And adding Xannies to it, that's when I started thinking to myself, like, what if I don't wake up in the morning?
Wow.
But that's in the process, so this is why I said I wanted to commit suicide, wow, passive aggressively.
Right.
Because when I used to be extra high, and in the back of my mind I used to say, damn, what if I don't wake up in the morning? And then when I woke up in the morning, guess what? I took more pills. Mm. So, yes, you start doing things.
So you was like, not trying to really kill yourself, but you
passive aggressively, because I was trying to kill myself because it ain't no under or over top of it. Mm. In the back of my mind, it was nights, every night. Right. Yo, what if I don't wake up?
But where in your life do you get to a point where you don't want to be here no more? Like, that's serious.
Well, a lot of people are a lot of people are afraid to share their story.
Right.
A lot of people are afraid.
Not on this show.
Yeah, and that's why I love it. A lot of people are afraid. We all go through the same problems. Everybody swear their problem was bigger than the next. I tell people, listen, ma'am and sir, my mother was on drugs, my father was on drugs. Were yours? It's a good chance yours were too.
Right.
I was raised by my grandmother. Were you? It's a good chance you were too.
Right.
So don't be afraid to share your story.
Right.
Be afraid if there's no ending to your story.
Right.
If you got the same story from 10 years ago and you pushing 40 or you pushing 50, then yeah, you should be ashamed of that.
Right.
So when you say, when do it get to a point when you be like, yo, I just want to end it all, it's probably was like that a long time ago.
Right.
You understand? You don't know what people are thinking inside.
No.
Everybody, I'm telling you, people, your deepest secrets, your deepest thoughts, sometimes you may sit back and be like, yo, am I bugging? Am I weird?
Right.
But that person right next to you think the same way.
Right.
That's why I tell people, it's over 10 billion people in this world. You think people are not thinking like that?
Right.
And actually doing it?
Right.
Whatever it is that you're thinking of.
Well, I think for me, when it comes to mental health, I grew up with a mom with mental illness. And for a long time, I was in denial. Like, I didn't want to know about it. She would try to, like, educate me on things and try to really help me understand why she's going through what she's going through. And I'm like, I don't want to know about that. Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't... But I think the reason why I had that attitude is because for a long time, you know, I felt like she missed out on a lot because of this illness.
Absolutely.
So I was more so, I guess, I love my mom. However, I feel like when you're growing up and you're a kid, like, you're due that. You're due that parent, you know what I mean, or parents, whatever the case may be. I think that my father was in my life, but he cured everything with money.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, here goes some money. Like, don't cry. Here goes some money. This will fix your problems. You know what I mean? And
wait a minute. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think that's probably why you act like that too sometimes?
What do you mean?
Like, you're not the lovey, affectionate type, but if it's like that money,
cut me a check.
Yo,
You know. But you know what? It's weird because that is like kind of like my attitude. Like, cut me a check and I know you care. You feel me? And I think the other part to it is why as well, like, I'm kind of like, I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to know about that because of how I was with my mom. You feel me? Right. And now when I look back on stuff, I still have a lot of resentment for how I grew up. You feel me? Like, it's going to take me some time because I feel like I'm owed an apology. You feel me? Like, I'm your child. You know what I mean? I had to be an adult at 16. You feel me? When my mother had attempted suicide. And I had to deal with that by myself. You feel me? Like, I remember going to the hospital that time when they had rushed her to the hospital. I remember being at work and I remember coming home and her being rushed to the hospital, you know what I mean? And like my neighbors and everybody outside just being nosy, not being really supportive, just being nosy.
Right.
And I remember going to the hospital and I remember my grandmother coming here. And I remember her being so cold and nonchalant. You feel me? I'm 16, I'm a kid. And I remember in that moment when the doctor was saying, like, you know, well, what's the plan? And the plan was for my mom to go to a mental institution and get herself together. And there was no plan for me, though. You feel me? There was no plan for me. You know what I mean? I mean, I love my mom to death. And, alhamdulillah, she you know, she got herself together. She has her moments, but for the most part, and then she's an intelligent woman. You know what I mean? Smart. I'm talking about smart. Like, went to college, all of that. Like, could go on Jeopardy and really win. You feel me? I always say that about my mom. Yeah, she's smart. She a geek. But in that moment or whatever, I feel like as a kid, that's where my resentment started. Because it's like, okay, it's a plan for her to go get herself together, right? And my grandmother, she left like, oh, well, I got other things to do. You feel me? Like, I'm going to go this way. And then I remember being left at the hospital by myself at 16 trying to figure out, well, what's the plan for me? Like, where do I go? What do I do? You know what I'm saying? Who going to make sure I'm good? You feel me? And so when I left out of that hospital or whatever, I already knew I was on my own. You feel me? Like, it's just me. And I'm going to always take care of me, and I'm never going to worry about nobody else because ain't nobody never worry about me. You feel me? So now that I got that,
that's crazy.
But now that I got that attitude, everybody like, oh, Christy, you this, oh, Christy, you that. You know, I met friends in college, and they can't understand why I got this bad attitude. And I meet people out of school, or meet friends here, or meet men here, and they can't figure out where my attitude is and why my attitude is just like epic.
This is why. But this is why when I'm teaching, right? I teach at Sayre High School. Okay. And when I'm teaching, I teach them.
Shout out to Sayre.
Yeah, shout out to Sayre, man. When I'm teaching, I teach them. Listen, no relationships. Stop worrying about certain things and learn you.
Right.
Understand you.
Right.
Love you.
Right.
Because what happens is we bring our trauma, whether it's severe or moderate,
right,
to another person's trauma.
Right.
And then next thing you know, it's like, well, I kind of control minds with being loyal. I'm speaking from the male and the female perspective.
Right.
The female kind of control theirs by being loyal, and loyalty is like, well, I never cheated on you. I had sex with you. I did everything you wanted me to do to you.
Right.
I cooked, I cleaned, I did everything. But the one thing that you didn't bring, that you didn't fix, was your trauma. And even with the male, it's like, well, damn, I never was taught how to communicate like that. I never was taught how to be loyal, because growing up, my mother used to tell me personally, you don't need to be with just one woman.
Wow.
Right?
Don't focus on one person.
Don't focus on one person. Instead of saying you don't need to be focusing on women, period.
Right.
Focus on your success.
That's what I tell my kids.
Focus on your craft.
Right.
Focus on, don't say, oh, I want to be a nurse. If you want to go to college to be the doctor.
Right.
Don't go to college and just say, okay, I want to stop here.
Right.
So back to, just with the trauma, we bring trauma to each other, and we not fixing ourselves.
Because and again, like, I totally agree. I feel like, and I think that's another reason why, as I got older and I had my son, when I had Hamid and my mom came, I remember she came in my room one day and tried to give me a pamphlet about bipolar depression. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, man, I ain't trying that. Like, you feel me? Like,
right.
that don't mean nothing to me, because I feel like that's the reason. Bipolar depression is the reason why you stop being my mother.
Right.
You stop focusing on me. You stop worrying about what I got going on. You feel me? So it's like, why would I want to know about what's going on with you? Like, how about you figure out what's been going on with me and why I lost my virginity at 12,
right,
or why I've been pregnant a couple times,
right,
or why I got this baby by a guy and I'm supposed to be in college getting my education. Like,
right.
I don't care about none of that. You feel
and
me?
see, that's crazy, because now when we bring kids into the picture, right?
Yep.
Now we got our trauma. We can't be 100% parents.
Yep.
And now we're trying to raise our children.
Right.
And this all is the cycle that I talk about. Whether I'm speaking on it, whether I'm creating skits, this is the cycle that I'm talking about.
I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I can't remember, but why is it that we are not... I remember. Okay. So I used to go and I used to volunteer up on State Road or whatever. And when I used to go up there, I used to go and sit with the guys, right? 13, 14, 15, 16, young guys up on State Road being tried as adults. And I would talk to them as if I was like a mom, right? Because I really want to know, why is it that young men your age, where do we go left, right? Or what could your mom have said, or what could she have done, or your father, or whoever, what could they have done different to prevent you from being up here?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I wish a lot of women, they say women can raise a man. Okay. Without a question. They just don't know the mechanics of being a man. Right. That's the difference. But a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of women in our inner city, in the hood, they raise their boys to be dependent. Right. And I did a study on myself. I did a study on women that I was around. I did a study on women that I grew up with, so on and so forth. I think the reason why women give their sons a lot of passes is because when there's no man around, who was the only male figure that was giving them love and affection? Right. The boy. Right. So I said, damn, let me think about this even more now, because I'm sober. So now, if you catch me talking to myself, I'm really not crazy. I'm just trying to analyze the shit, right? Right. So I'm like, yo, if the male child was the only male figure that was around, sometimes you catch women letting their male boys sleep with them at 10 years old. Yeah. I've seen a lot of it. Yeah, my son sleep at the foot of the bed sometimes. Okay, you get where I'm coming from? So now, growing up, if the mother say, boy, take that garbage out, right? And they didn't, how many mothers can keep it real and say, damn, he ain't do it, but I wash his clothes, I cook his food, I wash the dishes. Sometimes I may even get to the point where I'm cleaning up his room.
Okay.
Now, when they get older, hold on now, bro. Work with me. Don't judge me. Don't give me a rebuttal just yet. When the male get older, they looking for the female to not only love them, but yo, my mother did it. Why can't you?
Right. I'm gonna say this. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because having the opportunity to raise a boy and a girl, I see a very big difference, right? And like Zarin, she could cook. She know how to keep her room, her side of the room clean. She know how to be proactive and her hygiene and all of that. She do the dishes, all of that. With this one though, I gotta kind of push him out there. He don't know how to cook. He done burnt up like 3 pans, and I'm like, how you older and you don't know how to cook? You don't know how to do this, da 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 da. And even down to the trash. I told him to take the trash out. He may not take it out or whatever, and then I find myself doing it or whatever. Or I make
I love her.
Or I'm making her.
Oh, wait a minute. I love her. You want to know why I love her? Because he keeps it authentic like I do. Say that last part again. So when he don't take the garbage out, which most of you mothers be like, damn, let me just what?
But listen. I say this to say that when she don't do something she's supposed to do, I'm all over her.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
You know what she say?
What? Why you what?
When Hamid do it, man,
right.
You don't get on him about
right.
it. And I be like, Hamid not here. I told you to do it. And
right.
And it's so sad. And I had to catch myself with it because I said to myself, I'm teaching her to be this. Like you said in the beginning of the show, this independent woman, right? And even down to the religion, she could recite, right? She know how to pray. She on point and all of that. And then with him, it's like pulling teeth, right? It's like pulling teeth when it comes to the religion and really trying to teach him and get him on track. But I could also take it back to his dad, who sometimes is off track, don't got it together, got a lot going on. He married, he got this, he got that. You know what I mean? He got all this stuff going on. So his mental capacity ain't always where it needs to be in order to give him those things. Mm. But what I tell his dad all the time is that our son thinks the world of you. He thinks so highly of you. So just imagine if you could just get it together and keep it together, right? What you can instill in him when it comes to religion, he gonna eat it up because it's coming from you versus coming from his mom, whereas though I'm mom. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a disciplinarian. I keep it 100. I'm not a disciplinarian. I get with my kids or whatever when I really need to. Like, it gotta be at the last,
gotta be to that
point. You feel me? And then they be like, all right, mom, you right. Like, I'm a chill. You know what I mean? But up until that point, I'm not really a disciplinarian. So it's always important to have him because I know that he brings that to him. So if he could just keep it together in all the other areas, I feel like my son could be way better than where he is right now. Not saying he an awesome kid, he a good kid, he don't get into no crazy trouble. But like you were saying earlier, there's some things that he needs so that in order to be a good leader, to be a really good husband, you know what I mean, inshallah, one day, he will have those tools. Right now, it's like Zarin got all the tools, so it's like, okay, she gonna go into a
great wife.
If she goes into a relationship, I think your phone died. She goes into a relationship, She goes into a relationship or whatever. We almost out of time anyway. My live one is gonna start. She goes into a relationship or whatever, and then it becomes now she's the new enabler, right? And she's the one that's holding down the fort, and he's not. You know what I mean? And she gonna meet her a Hamid, and then she doing everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a revolving cycle, like you said.
And that's what I'm saying. And this is why most men, when we grow up, and we like, damn, we know how to comprehend it, but we don't know how to express it. Well, my mother did it, so why won't you? And this is why a lot of women be like, he want me to be his mother. I'm not raising no grown man.
Absolutely not.
But this is where the trauma comes in though.
Absolutely
because
not.
he's been kind of like, a lot of us as black men been kind of like trained like that. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, so I got somebody that said, I applaud you, good brother. I'm 8 months alcohol and weed free.
Congratulations.
My mom said, I agree. Aggression, gunshots, injuries, opioids, horrible cycle. C. Trey, same person, he said, and I took it upon myself to go see a therapist and talk about my mental trauma.
Absolutely.
And my mom said it's only been recently that mental health treatment was widely available.
Well, right. I do agree. I definitely agree.
Someone said, C. Trey said to my mom, Jacqueline, yes, and I think our generation needs it more than ever. My mom always also said opioids is killing more than just the black community. That's true.
Well, you know, I'm hella black and hella proud, man.
Yes.
I can only speak
for us, yeah. Right? Nate, shout out to Nate from LU.
Shout out to Nate, man.
Is when you feel you are at your lowest point in life, suicidal thoughts really surface. Absolutely. And C. Trey said, why is it that us as black parents are always feeling as though we are not doing a good enough job as parents?
No, I disagree with that. I feel like some of us we overpraise ourselves. Mm-hmm. Like, because I feel like you know, you always hear parents, especially mothers, you know what I mean? I did it. I raised 10 kids. Mm-hmm. I raised 5 kids.
Right.
No man around. So I don't feel like the women, because it's women.
Right.
Shout out to the strong men. No. Shout out to the men that
Shout out to the strong men, because there are a lot of fathers out there.
Like Tracy took on the responsibility of 3.
Shout out to Tracy.
3 children, mm-hmm. and they like that's their father.
Right.
And then he had 2 more biological.
Right.
So I look up to people like Tracy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people won't do that.
Yeah, man. Like, he's a man's man.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
But you know, the harsh reality is it's more women in the household, running the household, leading the household, unfortunately. So I think the women don't beat themselves up.
All right, Confessions of a Philly Girl, special guest, bmcfly, Brandon. I really appreciate you for coming on to the show. We had to do this again. This was like a powerful conversation. We talked about like mental health, trauma, addiction. That's all leading up to gun violence. Because you can't really just talk about gun violence.
No, you can't.
Until you really start talking about the roots of the problem. Because it ain't just one. It's many. And I think that we should start bringing these type of situations to light. Maybe we can put together a summit or something that really, really, really shines a light on some of them things. But talk about some of the things that you're working on right now. Like,
man, there's all types of stuff going on. I don't even know. I don't know about art, but you gonna see it.
How can anybody find you, reach out to you? What's your social media platform?
So I just dropped the audio book.
Okay.
So and it's called B. McFly Self Inventory. It's streaming on all platforms. It's doing amazing right now. So download that. It's 4 tracks. It's speaking on mental health.
Okay.
It's speaking on the aggressive black man.
Okay.
Mental slave versus physical slave.
Okay.
It's dope, man. So download that. You can catch me on Facebook and YouTube, Brandon Chastang. You can catch me on Twitter, bmcfly_, and you can catch me on Instagram, not the word dot, but b.mcfly_. And I just want to say one thing, right?
Yeah.
I want to speak on education real quick,
okay.
real fast. Education, I teach. I'm in the schools. I'm in the public schools, and they're missing teachers. Kids are coming to school to do everything but learn, right? So we are looking to reform the education system. I think we need to work on that, because it starts there. We cannot go in people's homes and tell them to change their tradition. But the one thing that we can't, I hate when people say, well, it starts in the home. Well, you want to know?
Oh my God, I agree with this.
Well, I guarantee you this. If kids got out of school and they got 3 months of summer because parents complained about it not being no air conditioners in the old schools. So just imagine what the parents can do for anything else.
You know what? It's funny you should speak on it, and really fast. I had this conversation with a couple people at my job, right? So a lot of times people always want to hear their opinion about this, and I've actually attended like a meeting, a town hall meeting in South Philly a couple years ago, maybe a few years ago, where the mayor came out and he discussed his agenda on the pre-K camps, right? And I was against it, and I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why I was against it, not because I don't think that pre-K counts or it's important. What I believe is important is that when you send these pre-K children home, right, to these parents who lack the education in order to help their kids with the homework, right? It's really kind of hard to even want to dump all of this money into kids who go home to parents who have no education. What about maybe dumping some of that money into not even just the education system in itself, but also adult education? This is why they say that the unemployment rate has went down, but not from where I'm sitting. You feel me? Not from where I'm sitting. So it's like, come on, okay, y'all going to take away cash assistance. Okay, great. But what are you going to give them in return? Are you going to help them get into some type of educational system? I ain't talking about just vocational school. I'm talking about some parents really some adults need to start at the very, very bottom. They
need life skills.
Yes.
Period.
They've never learned it.
Forget learning how to spell cat.
Yeah.
They need life skills.
Yeah. So I 1,010% agree that before we can cure any of these problems, even when it comes down to trauma, even when it comes down to these young people killing each other, I feel like education plays a major part. Because if you go out there on them corners, if you go down there on State Road where there are young men right now fighting for their life, getting off for 40, 50 years like it's nothing, like they're giving out sandwiches, right? And you ask them, when was the last time you've been to school? What grade were you in? A lot of them don't even remember.
And it's not fun because the teachers don't understand the culture.
Because they're not properly trained.
They're not properly trained. You're right. Like I don't care if you graduated from Harvard.
Yes. Are you trauma informed?
Right. Do you understand? Like when I go teach, I teach like this. I throw on some. You got ethicals on you. What's up? That's what I wear. You wear them. I'm just like you.
I'm just like
What's up?
you. Yes.
You feel me? And they love it.
Yep, they do. I actually had an opportunity to teach this school year that just passed, and I thought it was really dope. I had a really good time doing it, but the kids, they related to me so much.
Absolutely.
Because I'm authentic.
Right.
You feel me? I ain't coming in there with all that Google Gaga stuff. Even with my own kids, I talk to them straight up and down, but I'm relatable. And I think that that's important when you're going into the education system. It's just like you said, it ain't about where you went to school at. It's about how relatable are you.
And that's for black people too, because some black people don't got it. But some white teachers that do have it.
Exactly.
Like they got it.
They're a little urbanized.
Yeah.
But that's because they're not afraid to go out.
Or they might be from the from the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I agree. Is there anything you wanna say before we end the show?
Yeah, man. I just want to say, like I said before, right? People say knowledge is power, but I say applied knowledge is powerful. You could read 1,000 books, 1,000,000 books, but if you haven't applied the knowledge to what's going on out here in the community or wherever it is that you are, then it's not going to make any sense.
No.
That's number one. Number two, don't be ashamed of your story. Be ashamed if it's no ending to your story.
Right.
Philadelphia is the poorest city out of the top 10 largest cities. We're the 5th largest city in America. Our education system is one of the worst out of the top 10 largest cities, if not the worst. So we need to fix our trauma, we need to fix our mental health, our education, and the gun violence. And I just want to say thank you, Christina, for having me.
Of course. Absolutely. WCMD Radio, you already know. Your favorite Philly girl.
Shout out to my cameraman.
Yes.
Yo, he's
so
everywhere.
Professional.
Shout out to my camera guy.
What's his name?
Instagram. Say your name, man. Mere Films.
I know that's right.
MERE Films. With an S at the end.
Films. And that's on Instagram?
And that's on Instagram.
MERE Films. Yes, very, very professional, very pleasant young man, I must say.
Yes, man.
Yes. All right, so y'all already know. Y'all was tuned in. Confessions of a Philly Girl.
Absolutely.
Christina Lynn. Special guest, bmcfly, Brandon Chastang. Make sure y'all go follow him.
And download that audio book.
What?
It's streaming on all platforms.
What?
Okay?
Say it again.
bmcfly Self-Inventory.
Say it again.
Download that book. It's streaming on all platforms. Download it.
What? And we out.
Later.
Peace.